Welcome in, everyone. TGIF. It's time for the First Call podcast. These weeks just fly by. We get to Del Mar's biggest weekend of summer, Pacific Classic. He's Scott Shapiro. I'm Jeremy Plonk. We're representing First Bet and Express Bet. Huge week of racing at Del Mar, Scott. I know Del Mar's a destination track in the summer, but when you talk about the racing, Saratoga just sucks all the oxygen out of the national stakes schedule all summer long, except this weekend. This is really Del Mar's chance to shine. Pacific Classic amongst 4 stakes races on the program, and should be a good weekend out west.
Yeah, it is interesting how it turns out that way. A lot of the bigger races of the summer in terms of bigger, and grade ones, let's be fair, are at Saratoga. But Del Mar, obviously great racing product all summer. One of both places near and dear to my heart. It's good to see Del Mar in the limelight, like you with your great handicapping all week at Del Mar on Pacific Classic Day with your full card analysis.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's been a good meet so far at Del Mar. Not too good yesterday, but hopefully we bounce back today on Friday as we record the podcast. $30,000 carryover in the pick 6 at Del Mar, so keep that in mind. Top jock Juan Hernandez not in action today because this morning he was at York Racecourse in the UK winning aboard Basio for Wesley Ward in the Group 1 Nunthorpe Stakes, one of the top sprints in the world. So congratulations, Juan Hernandez. I saw video of him hopping into a helicopter, still wearing his silks, to get to the airport to fly back because he's got to ride Pacific Classic Day tomorrow at Del Mar. Juan Hernandez, a man on the move, again, winning the Nunthorpe.
Strike while the iron's hot, man. That's what these guys do. You got to give them credit.
Jairon Barbosa, to a lesser level, I noticed in writing the first post this morning for Express Bet and First Bet, which kind of lines up the day's action of everything going on around the country, who's hot, who's not, where the stakes are, the carryovers, etc. A good resource for you out there to plug that. But I was doing that research this morning to put that together. Jairon Barbosa yesterday rode the 7th race at Colonial Downs, ran second by a neck, got in the car, drove almost 3 hours to Charlestown, and then won 3 on the card last night.
See, I mean, that's like, and the thing is with these guys, like, that is part of what they do. Like, that if you don't do that, you're not going to, like, all of them do it. It's just the traveling is the part that we don't see. That, I mean, I know these guys make a lot of money and we get critical of them, especially the ones that make the most money because they can get passive at times over it because of it. Yeah. But they are putting their, it's a risky life that they're putting on the line, and they are traveling an absurd amount at the top level.
And that kind of effort is kind of where you see guys really ascend. I remember several years back, 4 or 5 years ago, Christian Torres was leading jockey at Remington Park, a meet that opens tonight, by the way, and I followed closely. I used to work there for years in the 90s. But Christian Torres was leading jockey at Remington Park. On the dark days at the beginning of the week, he was going over to Oaklawn, and their meet hadn't started yet, to work horses on Mondays and Tuesdays at Oaklawn. Hot Springs to Oklahoma City is not close. I mean, it's like 7-8 hours. It's a haul to get to Hot Springs from Oklahoma City. And then as the leading jockey to go and work horses there, and I said, this guy's going to be a top jock at Oaklawn very soon with that kind of work effort.
Yeah.
And bam, there he was, leading jockey at Oaklawn, moving to the Kentucky circuit. And now he's certainly raised his profile. You see that with some of the riders, and even a high-profile guy like Juan Hernandez, the effort to get to England, to get back to ride Pacific Classic Day tomorrow. Wish him well and safe travels, of course, as he globetrots around the world. Let's talk about the races we're going to handicap here on the podcast. We're going to get a look in from our newest partner, Matt Bernier, a little bit later on the show for the Pacific Classic. So let's talk about the races we're going to handicap on this podcast over the next half hour or so. For those of you on our traditional audio channels, here are the races that Scott and I are going to handicap. We're going to start at Saratoga. Hey, it's a big weekend at Del Mar, but Saratoga still has the Boston Spa in the Grade 1 Alabama. To Gulfstream Park, we'll go for the Miss Gracie Stakes. Up north to Woodbine. No hangover after the King's Plate. We'll talk about the Seaway Stakes at Woodbine. And then to Del Mar. The stakes quartet that we will handicap include the Green Flash in race number 5. The 9th on the card, the Grade 2 Del Mar Oaks. The Pacific Classic, Grade 1. You see Hit Show in the photo there spotlighted for those of you on our video channels. And the Del Mar Mile, wrapping things up, race number 11 on the card from Del Mar on Saturday. All right, so again, for those of you on our audio channels, thanks for joining us all these years. For those of you watching on video, whether it's X or YouTube, be sure to smash that like button, comment in the comment section, help us grow the audience here for the First Call podcast. Very happy to have you along. and we're ready to handicap some winners here, Scott. Let's get things started at Saratoga. It's the Grade 2 Boston Spa, race number 10 on Saturday's card. Mile and the 16th on the turf here. Named for the town, a couple miles away from Saratoga. You go to the Performing Arts Center, the SPAC, and you just go out a little bit, 4 or 5 miles, and you hit the village of Boston Spa. Neighboring town, the namesake of this race, but it could be called the Chad Brown. He's won it 8 times, and he's won it 3 of the last 5 years. So you expect Chad to have a presence in these Philly Ameriturf races at Saratoga. He's got it. He's got Play with Fire. He's got Suggesta. He's got Grayosh. He's got 3 of the 8 entrants in this race.
Sure does. I think he's won it 8 times. I don't know if you mentioned the exact number, but it's definitely his. Sorry if I missed it. His race, but Suggesta is suggested by odds maker David Aragona to be a heavy favorite here, 7-5. She does come out of 4 Grade 1 races. Mm-hmm. I get it. But, we talked about it way back at the time that Jenny Wiley was a pretty underwhelming Grade 1 this year for that race. Yep. And then she lost to Diana, which is fine at a 1.8 miles over a yielding, but then lost them at just a game. So I don't think she's got to win this race by any stretch. But I do like another Chad Brown runner. I think One More Time is going to be a popular alternative, and that makes sense. She just won over the course, but she had things her way that day over the inner turf, and it's an extra 16th of a mile. She's over 2 at that distance, and her last couple of wins, have been at a mile. So I also don't see any chance that she gets away with an easy lead like she did the last time. You got Suggesta in here because Chad's got 3. He's not just going to let her walk on the lead, and you've got long ago putting the blinkers on with Kendrick. I think Play with Fire is a Chad that's very dangerous in here at a big price based on the morning line. Second off the bench, 4-year-old season. I know lost by a neck and not really with an excuse, had a good trip last out, but you're just getting a really good price. You should get a really good trip, and you should get you're going to get the advantage when you see Pratt go elsewhere. People are just going to look at that and just make assumptions based on it. And I get if you're Pratt, who you're riding, though. I mean, so it's not as if it's surprising. I think Play with Fire is the value in here. I think could be the best race of her career, and if it is, I think she wins.
No Pratt, but you're getting Manny Franco having a dream summer, a career summer for him at Saratoga. Just has an absolute fabulous meet. A couple jock notes. We already talked about Juan Hernandez traveling the world and the jockey carousel, if you will, on the Chad Brown runners in this race. Announced this morning in a report from David Grenig at Daily Racing Forum that Irad Ortiz tried to give that bum ankle a go and work some horses in the morning and couldn't do it. His comeback has been delayed, so we are not going to see Irad Ortiz on Saturday at Saratoga, and his return is a bit up in the air right now. I guess in the NFL world, we'll say he's day-to-day, Scott.
Yeah, but if he's not riding Counting Stars tomorrow, he's week to week, because that's that's almost, we'll get to the race very quickly here, but 1 to 2, 6-horse field, $600,000 purse. If you don't see him in that race, if you don't see him ride tomorrow, you're saying today, meaning Friday, then I think it's week to week. I'm going to go week to week, because then he's also going to give up on the idea of winning the meet, probably. I don't know what the standings look like right now, but
and Travers Day's sitting on the calendar in a week, right? So I mean, you've got to get back. Like for him, injury wise, do you want to come back this week or give it another
week? This week or Travers, or maybe Friday to get ready for Travers. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so let's knock on wood. Hope the best for Irad Ortiz. Ozara, defending champ in the Boston Spa, but she hasn't been in the same kind of form. She's only won for 5. Since then for trainer Miguel Clement. We'll see if the defending champ can make some noise in the Boston Spa as well. But Scott's going for the other Chad, Manny Franco, aboard Play with Fire. Top choice in the Boston Spa. That's race 10. If you're looking at a potential daily double, it rolls into race number 11, and that might be the way to attack. It is the way to attack multi-race wagers, whether it's a daily double, pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, pick 6. You got to get in and out of the Grade 1 Alabama in race number 11, because you're not going to get a lot intra-race, and certainly betting Counting Stars, a heavy favorite on the nose, isn't necessarily a great way to make hay either. So the multi-race bets late in the day, Saturday at Saratoga, are going to be a key.
Yeah, this is the kind of day where if I feel like Counting Stars absolutely can't lose, and I honestly, if I'm going to put it together a pick 6 ticket on myself and put $100 or something, couple hundred in personally, I'm going to have to be very confident if I'm singling a 1 to 2. If I'm singling a 3 or 4 to 1, then it's a little bit but I don't want to go down with a 1-2. But on everything I've looked at so far, it's very hard to imagine her losing. The horse, you've got a filly in her own barn that she just beat handily and ran her best race of her career. I mean, maybe measure moves, I guess you could make the case you get the other Cassie, but then really you're looking at the fact that My Gun's Loaded is the one with the upside. And it's just a big ask for a horse that's got run out of the Wilson. I mean, I don't have a lot of confidence when these top trainers run their horses out of the Wilson chute. That might be a fake thing right now I'm seeing or thinking in the meet, but until further notice, I just don't feel like those races are a very good quality. I don't care the condition. And that last race, he runs a filly out of the big maiden win with the good pedigree that was 18-1. He runs. I just don't think this is a filly that Chad thought a lot of until maybe now. Maybe she's just gotten. So to me, you're asking for an awful lot to beat a filly that has been awesome, as we'll take a look.
Yeah, I mean, Chad Brown's running with another 3-year-old filly here because his main 3-year-old filly, the Kentucky Oaks winner, couldn't match strides. Always a Runner had every chance last time out in the Coaching Club Oaks over this track at 1 1/8. Couldn't do it. So at 1 1/4, he's going to take a shot with somebody else. Let's go back to the CCA Oaks.
There's a hold at the rail for Always a Runner, and she confronts Counting Stars once again. These two hook up at the top of the stretch in a showdown at the Spa. Always a Runner, the Kentucky Oaks winner on the inside. Counting Stars going with her. These two head to head, and Counting Stars has another gear and opens up with authority. Counting Stars takes control of the division with a resounding victory in the Coaching Club American Oaks.
That'll rip your heart out. Horse.
And she's been unbelievable. I mean, 10 races in her form cycle with absolutely no break dating back to last September. I followed the Oaklawn meet and handicapped every one of their stakes races for the track newsletter last year. And so when they ran her in the Astral Stakes a little overnight, I was like, okay, she's kind of nice. They came back 13 days later in a race called the Year's End for 150. And I'm thinking, okay, they're just trying to shove because they know they're going to get an easy purse here, an easy pickup, as she was a 6-5 favorite in that race. But she's not really much. If you're running her back in December on 13 days rest in a stakes race called the Year's End for 150, I'm thinking they don't think that much of her. So I was kind of against her earlier in the spring. But boy, she's proven to be much more than I thought. And I think much more than the connection stuff, because I think that campaign that she had last year certainly wasn't the kind of campaign you're looking at if you're thinking, oh yeah, she's still going to be in her form cycle 11 races from now and be 1-5 in the Alabama.
Absolutely agree. I mean, I never thought very much, and that's where you kind of, a lot of times I like to try to read between the lines. You do too, not just be numbers based or what you see on the track. And when I see that stuff, you just have to assume that the connections don't think. I mean, a lot of it has to do with what they paid, though. I mean, for West Point, $150K is a drop in the bucket, so that might be part of it. You get these big barns where they, just might not get the attention and realize it, and they have to earn it more than the ones that are kind of earn it with the sales ring. So, but at the same point, even in the Kentucky Oaks, she didn't tell me that she was some world beater. I thought she had a good trip and a good, and it was a good performance. But the last two have been awesome. That's the only question I have. I just know in horse racing, they just, especially fillies, as they're young, it's a lot to expect them to just keep firing these. Yeah. But on everything on handicapping, I'm not going to try to beat this horse.
That's what I said going into the Coaching Club Oaks. I picked against her at even money. Said she's got to kind of, the bloom has to come off the rose at some point. It hadn't happened yet. We'll see if Counting Stars can go the mile.
Little quicker return this time. Little quicker return. That's the one thing.
It's been a race. Nitrogen won it last year for Mark Cassie. He'll try to win it back-to-back. And just all the big names seem to deliver in this race in recent histories. Nest, Malathot, Swiss Skydiver, Songbird. I mean, Royal Delta. The good ones win this race. And she's obviously been the best one of the 3-year-old filly crop this summer after she put away the Oaks winner last time out in Always a Runner. Hey, there's only 4 other horses in this race, right? Or 5 other horses. 2 of them are going to become grade 1 1 type, right? They're going to get grade 1 type running second or third in here and be worth a lot more as a broodmare. So you've got a 40% chance in this race to really up your broodmare value, becoming a grade 1 placed runner second or third. They're not going to look back 3 years from now when your horse ends up in the sales ring and wonder how many horses were in the field for the Alabama. It's going to say grade 1 placed in the Alabama next to 2 of these runners, probably maybe 3 different ones if Counting Star isn't on the board, but we certainly expect her to be. That's a look at Saturday's action from Saratoga. Let's go south now to Florida. Gulfstream Park, 1 mile on the turf. It's the Miss Gracie Stakes coming up here around 2 turns. A field of 8 lined up in this particular spot. Scott, who you liking at Gulfstream?
Yeah, this is an interesting race. I'm going to take it. I don't see a lot of speed, and you know how the Gulfstream turf course can play. Can't say I've been following it every day down there on the course, but I could generally say this time of year even more so than the time of year in the winter, as it's been winter. As we start to get into the championship meet a little bit, but speed generally plays well over this course. And I'm going to try the first-time turfer for Safi Sorokin, daughter of Charlatan. This one. 2 good efforts to kick off her career at Tampa, and then a speed and fade battling last time out and fading. But a half the summer in Tahoe was no world beater, but was 4 for 15 with 3 of those wins on the turf and routes. And one of them at Kentucky Downs, 1 at Indiana, and 1 at Laurel. So, some competitive circuits. I think this one goes to the lead, and if she can, take to the surface and the distance, I think she has a big chance.
Call to the bullpen. The horse in here is 5-2 in the morning line, taking a big step up in class. Hasn't been above the allowance ranks either. Yeah. So for you to take a shot with Sorokin, kind of lightly raced and inexperienced, this race kind of leans towards somebody like that. Lagina, the 2-1 morning line favorite, does have the stakes experience, plenty of speed. The stamina is the question mark there, whether that one will finish things out for Patrick B. and Cohn. So Scott's going with Sorokin, the 5 in race number 7. That's the Miss Gracie at Gulfstream Park Saturday afternoon. Also, be sure to take part at Gulfstream Park, where you get 10 times first rewards points on all those bets on the Summer Sweep 5 wagers. So be sure to check those out at Gulfstream Park this weekend. Racing Saturday, Sunday, and Monday racing, of course, at Gulfstream. Every Monday at Gulfstream is a mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. So whatever gets accrued in the jackpot throughout the course of the week, paid out on Mondays. Let's go to Woodbine now. Race number 7 on Saturday. Of course, they had the big King's Plate last week where Luster was dominant. The 3-year-old fillies owning the Canadian sired and Canadian bred runners this year. And Luster, of course, the Woodbine Oaks winner and King's Plate winner, is going to be put away for a little while and not come back for the rest of the Triple Crown. She's going to look towards Keeneland in the fall in the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup. So a little follow-up from what we saw at Woodbine last week, Scott, with Luster. Who's the big stakes winner this week?
Yeah, I'm going to go right back with a Mark Cassidy chalk. I mean, there is no speed in this race. This 7 furlong affair over the all-weather might look like Bessie Abbott is speed. Maybe she is. Either way, Creed's Gold is, I think, the clear class of the field. She's 2 for 2 over the surface, including a win last time out. Yep. Beating one of her main rivals in here, Reagan's Flame. So I think she either goes to the lead or sits just right off the pace. And another one, I mean, you look at it, 25. Today's the kind of day where I'm looking and going, man, maybe I should just try to buy cheap horses that I can get in the stakes races. $25K in a grade 3 has already made $516K. I mean, this is an easy. I mean, there is the easy game of betting horses. We all know how easy that is, but then owning them is even easier, apparently.
Yeah, sure. This is the part of the podcast where people go, this is not financial advice. Right. This is strictly for entertainment. This is not financial advice to expect to get $500,000 horses out of $25,000.
Hopefully anybody that would find this podcast worth listening to in a week like this, it isn't the Derby, knows that. That's pure sarcasm.
I joke, but Woodbine's feature here, the Seaway's been a race that Mark Cassie's won the last 2 years. He's looking for a 3-peat. He's got 3 shots in here, you mentioned, with Creed's Gold as the favorite. Bessie Abbott's also a Mark Cassie, and then the third Cassie, and here's the 2 Elysian Field. Safi Joseph bringing Reagan's Flame back again here at Woodbine, a horse who had been down in Florida with Safi and then been staying up at Woodbine in between races and running up there on the synthetic. a national and international barn for Safi Joseph this week. He's going to have horses too on the West Coast at Del Mar. It's been a tough summer for Safi at Saratoga. I think he's won for the meet right now, but he's winning everywhere else. Wouldn't be surprised there if his runner Regan's Flame is right in the mix in the Seaway Stakes. That's race number 7 at Woodbine on Saturday. All right, let's go from Canada to the West Coast and where the turf meets the surf at Old Del Mar. We've got 4 stakes races to handicap for you coming up on Pacific Classic Day, 11 race card. Regular post time, no funny business in terms of the times at Del Mar. They're going to start at 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. Post times are a half hour apart throughout the card. This whole thing gets done in 5 hours. God bless them. A big race day with a 5-hour card, which is a beautiful window at Del Mar, not stretching things out to these 7.5 hour cards that we tend to see here on some of the big race days at racetracks. I, for one, am a fan of the lineup that they've got set up and the way it's scheduled on Saturday at Del Mar. I've got full card picks for Del Mar's program already posted at expressbet.com and at news.first.com. Spot plays the rest of the days of the week, but we certainly have a full card lineup set up for you for Del Mar. Scott's going to give us his thoughts on 4 of the stakes races, starting in race number 5. It's the Green Flash. How about Notorious going for a 4-peat? You say, well, that's impossible at Del Mar. We saw Gold Phoenix do it in the Del Mar Handicap last year, win the same race 4 years in a row. Notorious, trained by none other than Phil D'Amato. Gold Phoenix, trained by Phil D'Amato. Phil knows the way to a 4-peat, Scott.
I hope so. This isn't going to be a rush to the window wager for me at 5-2 on the line, but I think this horse is going to be tough to beat. He ran really well last time. I know he lost as the favorite. I don't. A lot of times you see it with these closers in any race, but particularly these turf sprints coming off the bench that generally don't break that well, but break well off the layoff because they're sprinters. They're not generally just dead out of the gate or they're done. But this horse broke too well, and they didn't go fast for him. And I think Sumter, they didn't go fast, but yet they kept everybody in the race. So he probably, he would have been better off with the trip Sumter got, who also was second off the layoff. So to me, this is the race they care about with Notorious. He ran 4th last year in his race coming in. I'm not worried that he lost that race. I thought it would help with his price. I made my picks before the morning lines came out. Your pick is a little more exciting in this race, I presume. I forget who you have in this race.
I get Sorrento Sky. I've got the other D'Amato in here, and we're going to get to see both of them. They run 1, 2, 3 in that key allowance race. I do think this allowance prep is the key to the race. Sumter won it. Notorious was second. Sorrento Sky, watch the 3rd place finisher in the way he's really striding late in this race, and that's kind of what got my attention. I think this is a horse who was too close to the pace in last year's Green Flash, and I think they learned a little something against this level of horse, take them farther back and make the one run like they did in that allowance race. I think at even weights this time, this is a horse that gets weight this time, and last time was at even weight. So about a 4-pound shift in the weights here could help Sorrento Sky as well. Let's go back to that allowance race. It was July 19th, Del Mar, race number 3.
Back. Nesso's Last Hurrah and Motorious together 3rd and 4th. Sumter is 5th with 5 lengths to make up. Then Sorrento Sky and Call Me Corey. 22.26 that opening quarter mile, and they're coming to the top of the stretch. Flyover and Booksmart side by side as they turn for home from Nesso's Last Hurrah. Motorious trying to get going with Sumter on the outside. They're both closing in. Here comes Motorious and Sumter. They're right together, taking the lead at the 16th bolt together, and Sumter's in front. Sumter to beat Motorious. Then comes Sorrento Sky in 3rd.
Now, how do we reverse that result and try to get the 3rd place finisher up there to outclose the others? You go faster earlier and set the table more for the late runner. And I think we get that with the one monster coming west for Jose D'Angelo. That's the new X factor to what we usually see in the Southern California scene. If it's the same horses kind of running back against each other, incredible East Coast speed for this runner. Last 9 races has led right off the get-go. D'Angelo, obviously a turf sprint trainer. We've seen it with Chief So Spicy, and others. This horse is here because it's 5/8 of a mile. The 5.5s, the 6, the longer sprint races on the East have been a little long for her. And I think this 3-year-old colt is just going to go cooking out of there from the rail. And I think that helps with that late move that we saw in the nice long stride from Sorrento Sky late. I'm going to take my shot with that one. Motorius, though, you got to outkick this one. Check this stat out, Scott. Antonio Frezu at the meet, 25 turf sprints. He's got 7 wins in 4 seconds. That's an incredible percentage in turf sprints. Winning 28%. And he's almost 50% in the exact in turf sprints at the meet. Frezu is riding the trip exceptionally well. He's going to give your boy Motorius every single chance in here. I think I'll get a better price on Sorrento Sky than some of the others, and that's why I'm going that direction.
Yeah, too bad your horse doesn't like to win and mine does. That's the difference. Otherwise, everything you say I agree with. That's why I think a 6-9 would be the play if you want to, if like a Cole. I mean, and I don't even mean. I mean, I know these horses win on occasion, but I've done well over the years, fading them on top, the kind that always come with that. Because you watch the replay. For a while, I'd watch the replay and always want to bet the Sorrento Skies, and then I would lose with them a lot, and they would always run. I'd be like, all right, maybe they're underneath type horses, and then I did better with it. But nah, I don't mean to knock your play. I mean, this horse is.
Oh no, please do. No. Hey, I'm leaning on the 2 most famous words in racing: one time. That's all we want. We want to get him there one time. This is not the consistent kind of horse, and certainly you wouldn't take him at a shorter price. I think if we can get 8-1 in that ballpark, then I think we're kind of talking about the kind of play that we're looking for. But an exacta Motorius with an all D'Amato exacta, I would be cashing on that. That's something that I'm very much interested in. I do not have a big knock against Motorius for sure in a race that he has simply owned, winning it 3 straight years. To the Del Mar Oaks we go next, race number 9 on the program, 1 mile and an 1/8. I think I called it a grade 2 earlier. It is a grade 1. They do not have a grade 1 caliber field this year, though. Very much a grade 2 lineup here. Very similar to what we saw in the San Clemente Stakes. Somerset West won that one, is not back in the prep or back in the final after the prep. But that race has been such a key factor to the Del Mar Oaks in recent years. 5 of the last 6 winners of Del Mar Oaks came out of the Del Mar meet. 9 of the last 11 exiting stakes races. The San Clemente is just right there. This is the kind of race that's been very productive for these horses to get ready for the Del Mar Oaks. We haven't seen a lot of shippers have a ton of success in this race in recent years. So for me, it kind of goes back to, what do you make of the race in the San Clemente? And that's the way I handicapped it. Inbox, the runner-up in here, ran second in that race. Loses Joel Rosario. Rosario is going to jump seats to take Kensington Lane, a horse coming west for Phil D'Amato, coming off a win in the Belmont Oaks. So interesting in that respect. The other Phil D'Amato in here is Peanut Butter Bomb, 4th place finisher in the San Clemente last time. I liked him last out at 7-1, and things just went wrong for her right from the start. We're going to go back to the beginning and just kind of give you a full replay of the San Clemente, because I do think this is a key prep, and so many of the runners in this race are coming out of that race. When you look through, and you've got Inbox in here, you've got Peanut Butter Bomb, you've got Wild Like the West, and you've got Rating Party, 4 of them back in this race. Let's go to Larry Comas with the call of the San Clemente Gate to Wire.
They're off in the San Clemente. Awkward beginning there for Peanut Butter Bomb. It's Ground Support, who's taken on by Light One Up, who takes the early lead. Light One Up to the front. Cortina d'Ambrezzo goes after her on the outside, then Ground Support, followed by Spirit Doll in 4th. Marjoram is next on the outside by another 2, and then comes Wild Like the West, who's down toward the rail alongside of Peanut Butter Bomb. After that, Rating Party, who's near the back of the pack, saving ground 8 lengths behind, alongside of Inbox. Somerset West is last. 23.76 was the quarter. Cortina d'Ambrezzo and Julien Leparoux lead the way up the backstretch by a neck, with Light One Up second to the inside. 2 lengths back to Spirit Doll, Ground Support, and Marjoram all right together. Peanut Butter Bomb has 6 lengths to make up, and then comes Wild Like the West on the inside. Rating Party has been taken off the rail by Ben Curtis. She's got 7 lengths to make up, then Inbox in Somerset West. 46.87 was the half mile as they move for the far turn, and Light One Up has taken over the lead from Cortina d'Ambrezzo. Ground Support is just in behind them. Wild Like the West comes on, 1 off the rail. Then to the outside as they come to the top of the stretch is Spirit Doll, and she is on the move as they turn for home. At the top of the stretch, Cortina d'Ampezzo, Spirit Doll to the outside. Wild Like the West is there. Light One Up tries to dig in. Coming up the inside are both Somerset West and Ground Support. Down the middle, Inbox. It's as wide open. It's Somerset West and Inbox down to the wire, down to these two. Somerset West at 35 to 1 in the San Clemente to beat Inbox, Raiding Party, and Peanut Butter Bomb.
Wild finish in the San Clemente. Now we've got some new faces to assess into the race. The shippers in here include Define, coming off a win at Ellis Park and Maiden Company. Kensington Lane, as we mentioned, for Phil D'Amato, second off the plane, winning the Belmont Oaks after exporting from Ireland. And then the other shipper in here to talk about is Tam Tam, the 3-horse in here for Phil Bauer, coming from Churchill Downs in the summer meet there. Tam Tam's been a horse who's been very successful in winning at a mile on the Teppan Stakes. We'll try to stretch out to a mile and an eighth in this one. All right, Scott, I gave you my thoughts. I think Peanut Butter Bomb and the San Clemente are key. I know an upset winner and horses were spread across the track usually indicate it's not that important of a race and not that good of a race, but I'm going to stick with Peanut Butter Bomb in here. Hopped at the start, was a sweaty mess, bucked, then ran up rank in the traffic, and then still got beat 2 lengths for all the money. I'm going to go back to that one in Freysu, but I know you're looking for the out-of-towners.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. That would be the one I would bet, given price and all, because I am siding with the fact that that wasn't the race that it normally is, because of it being won by a long shot, because of it being a little chaotic. And then you move these horses to mostly outside posts, right? I mean, and the race got a real Inbox, got a great setup. Wild Like the West, I didn't find a huge excuse for. Raiding Party is way outside again, and I would love to like Raiding Party in a different scenario. That was a ridiculous trip, especially considering the Woodall. Yeah. But to me, I'm going to look for a horse coming out of a different race. Kensington Lane is obvious. I mean, was really good last time, but got completely forgotten. I've been following the Saratoga meet closely. That was a total dominating job and just went to the lead. But I just don't see that being that easy this time. And feels like last time was the time type deal. I'm going to take a swing. Brendan Walsh has Raiding Party already out here. Now, this is a prestigious race. Mark Cassey usually sends one of his top. I don't know what his 3-year-old filly situation on the turf is. I haven't thought about it. But, I know he's had good ones. I don't know if they're still in turf. But Brendan Walsh decides to ship Define out also off of Maiden Wayne. He doesn't have to, he wouldn't have to do that. There's Kentucky Downs. I mean, there's a lot of spots for this one to go to in the near future for a turf horse, a 3-year. And he was in search of the grade 1 here, right, to me. I mean, which is a sign that they have high hopes for this filly. I mean, I know she didn't beat much in that race at Ellis, but she did it for absolute fun. And I just take it as I think Brendan Walsh is a solid horseman, if not a real good horseman. And I like Kazushi Kimura on this filly. I think he'll give her the right kind of trip that she'll want. And I just going to take a big shot in here with 15 to 1. I don't see how this horse doesn't get kind of forgotten. There's really not many reasons to think she's going to win, but I think the upside is there based on the things I said.
Yeah, I think you'll get priced because we didn't even talk about Green Carrera coming over for Joseph O'Brien, Irish export here. This one won the Sandringham on Royal Ascot during the Royal Ascot meet. Anytime you win at Royal Ascot, even in a listed stakes, you're a filly of some serious class, and so she could certainly be effective in here. We saw Kensington Lane come out of those races in Ireland and win the Belmont Oaks, so the American 3-year-old filly division maybe is ripe for another shipper to come from overseas. Green Carrera gets Umberto Rispoli. I always like that combination of international horse with local jockey because you don't get those kind of boneheaded European rides that get us so upset so many times, that don't understand the tempo and the tactics and the style of American racing that many times plague an international shipper. To get Rispoli there, and as well as he's riding at the meet, is a good plug too. This is a race I think you want to get some coverage if you're playing multi-race wagers. Certainly, I've got Peanut Butter Bomb. I think Kensington Lane, Green Carrera, Scott's Horse Define. I think you get to those, and if you get past then you're kind of like, well, then everybody gets thrown into the pool coming out of that wild finish in the San Clemente. So I think you're 4 or 5 deep in here, I think, and I think this is a really good race for the multi-race wagers.
or you do what nobody else is going to do and just take a stand. And even if it's with the favorite,
well, that's it, right?
Even if it's with the favorite, who's the favorite in here on the Carrera or Green Carrera? Tam will be the favorite. I mean, it won't. That horse will play much bigger in the pools. Think about it, because everybody spreads, people don't single those horses, even though they're the favorite. I think, so if you like Tam or Green Carrera and think they can't lose, this is a tremendous spot to single and get coverage elsewhere.
I don't like Tam at all at night.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to promote anybody.
Yeah, no. Picking up 4 pounds, stretching out. This is a miler to me, and so the distorted humor on the bottom of the pedigree. I don't want that 9 furlongs. She does get a good draw because there's not a lot of speed to her inside, and this mile and an eighth does start at the top of the chute in the infield chute, so it's a little bit of an elbow turn and then 2 turns. So inside speed can carry a little farther than you might expect at Del Mar in a race like this coming out of that infield chute, but still, I don't like Tam at 9 furlongs.
No, total pass for me. But not if you're transferring her numbers to the mile and an eighth and assuming she's as good or but gets better, she's going to be there at the wire. But I don't think she's going to run a race. I have the similar thoughts.
Main event time for the podcast this week. It is the Pacific Classic, race number 10 on the card Saturday at Del Mar. Grade 1, $1 million in the Pacific Classic. We're looking for a horse to win this race for the first time because we don't have the defending champs back in here that we have some years in the Pacific Classic. We've got a new cast of shooters, and we really don't have the top of the Del Mar handicap division that we might have expected. Baeza left town. Journalism retired, and we also had the retirement of Nisos recently. So, if you would have told me 3 months ago who are the 3 headliners for the Pacific Classic, none of them are here. 2 retired, and Baeza, of course, now on the East Coast with Bill Mott, and is staying there. I thought he was a natural to come out here and be a major contender. But Bill Mott is not without major contenders shipping west in Knightsbridge. So he doesn't send Baeza back to his roots in California. He'll send Knightsbridge here for the first time, and he's going to send him a distance that he's never seen anything close to this point. Can Knightsbridge win at 1.25 miles? He's going to be fairly heavily favored, I think, coming off this big, fast win at Monmouth.
Bridge. It's his race to lose now. He's sailed 5 ahead. Money Game second. Skippy Longstocking third. The others well behind the front-running Knightsbridge, who turns it on with a furlong to go. He's 7 clear hitting the furlong pole. Money Game is second. Skippy Longstocking, not his day-to-day. Knightsbridge, did he like the route? The answer is a decisive yes. He loved the 2 turns, and he was wrapped up by Flavian Pratt. He won by 9 or 10. Money Game second, Skippy Longstocking third.
He loved it at Monmouth, the speed favoring track. He loved it against the short field size in a Monmouth Cup that was grade 3 with Skippy in there and really nobody else. Will he love it with pressure? There is a lot of speed in this race. You've got a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner in Full Serrano and some others that can cook early in this race. For 12 furlongs, Scott, there's a lot of pace in here. Knightsbridge is in the 11 hole. I don't think Post is the great, big deal with 1.25 miles, a very long run through the stretch the first time. But he has the potential of being on the outside of some other speed in here. And is he good enough to get the distance, give pressure, and give a little bit of ground at the same time?
I've never seen him prove he wants to get into a battle. I know his Met Mile was a little bit encouraging to me. I faded him in the Churchill Downs, and I still am mad because I didn't use I love this Rupter, use Crazy Mace. It was that's frustrating, but this horse to me has never proven he's a warrior. He's proven he can be very fast when the things go right. And things just went so right for him in that Monmouth Cup, When is this horse won by not being the favorite? You can't find one. So not to say that this is, that's not a lot of that's a compliment to be the favorite every time, but you bring up good, don't worry about, I wouldn't say, like you said, where the Post is about as insignificant as it could be. You don't want it, but I wouldn't worry. It's a long run. But you're going to have Forge Steel. This horse tried to relax last time, right? It didn't work. His best races were on the lead. They put Edwin Gonzalez on now. Between him and or the stablemate Navajo Warrior, there is just no way Knightsbridge is walking, right?
Right.
So He's either got to go run the best. To me, he's got to run the best race of his life to win. I mean, I don't care about the numbers, but you got to let him beat you as a gambler in this spot. And I'm a little bit. I have a bias because I just don't think this horse has shown he's a warrior. So until he does, But I also obviously am not huge fan of the connection,
right?
But not in junior aside, but yeah, but he's a horse you got to try to beat, Jeremy.
I've got pass with a question mark written next to like 4 horses in this race. Like, can they pass anyone? And he's one of those in that mix. So these races either fall apart or the best speed of the speed just prevails and nobody comes, and nobody can, forge past the one who's most brilliant on this particular day. I will say, watching the videos at first.tv, the workout videos from Saratoga and Del Mar, that Knightsbridge is training very well. I thought he looked very good on video. He's going to come up to the race in excellent form. He's not going to bounce off the race at Monmouth. Now, again, it's a 1.25 miles. It's a road trip. We like Del Mar. This is not a surface that everybody likes. It's different. There's Santa Anita horses that don't like Del Mar, So the trip out there is no guarantee to take a short price. Ford Steele, I know his race 2 back in the Gold Cup at Santa Anita was absolutely awesome. He got away early that day and just, boat raced him around there. This is a much tougher field, but I will tell you, I absolutely loved what I saw on workout video. Now, you're running against the air, but Safi's horses are not firing at Saratoga, as we talked about earlier, but they are when they ship west, and he's done an excellent job this year winning races on the West Coast. I mean, you got to figure he's already won the Santa Anita Handicap and the Gold Cup this year, shipping west, Safi Joseph Jr. So I think Ford Steele has a shot in here because I think he's going to be a much overlooked price in here off the terrible effort last time in the Suburban when he didn't get to the front. Almond Joy to the inside, the Japanese horse to his outside, Subsanador out of him. I think Ford Steele is the closest thing to rail speed that we can find in this race, and I think he's going to cook out of there. And Edwin Gonzalez doesn't ride $1 million races often. They're not going to leave a lot of decisions up to him. He's going to go. And if this race is a situation where horses don't want to pass others late at 1.25 miles, I think he's the upset chance from the front. But the logic and pace flow of this race tells you somebody probably closes the win. And I know that's how you probably landed on your pick.
Combination. Yeah. I mean, I think there's horses that I think are going to be at their best or close to it at 1.25 miles, and a lot of them that I don't.
Right.
And that's why, I think as a whole, Knightsbridge is the best speed, to your point, but not at I mean, if there's any sort of battle at 1.25 miles, I'd rather have the horses that have proven it to me to be able to go, long. This is not this is 1.25 miles.
Yeah.
But I do trust Hit Show to get 1.25 miles. He's 1 for 5, but with 2, he's hit the board in a couple of them, but those are, a couple Dubai World Cups. We won one, and one of them was this year, where it was the 2 best horses in training by far at the time in Magnitude and Forever Young in the world. I don't care about his last race. When races like that, when someone goes to the front and doesn't stop, Hit Show is not going to be good enough to win those races. But this is a very fun race. But other than Knightsbridge, it's a great, I'm not knocking it. I don't think it should lose. It's a grade 1 race. But the way, it's a kind of race where if you look at Hit Show's PPs, he does very well in. It's when he moves up, the Blame, he got a brutal trip. He should have probably won that race. He won the Mine Shaft. He got second to Magnitude in the Clark. I mean, he's just a very consistent horse that always comes with his run, should get the distance with no problem, and has shipped around and won. So I just think he's the best horse to bet on in this race. Yes.
We've got 2 horses that have won in 1.25 miles. Ford Steele, of course, won the Gold Cup at Santa Anita, 1.25 miles, 2:01 and change, which is going to be fast enough to win this. They're not going to go run a 1:59 in here. I don't think anybody's going to run a 1:59 2-minute kind of 1.25 miles. This will be a 2:01 kind of race. And of course, Hit Show won the richest of the 1.25 miles races when he won the Dubai World Cup. So, I mean, we've got horses that are proven at 10 furlongs. They're going to have completely diverse styles. I think the most likely scenario is a wire job or a meltdown. And if it's a meltdown, you've got the right horse. If it's a wire job, I hope that I've got the right horse at the right price. But we will find out. And a very interesting addition to the Pacific Classic that we haven't mentioned, the Japanese Raider Finger in here. He's been aimed at this race for some time. He's a horse from Japan who won the Tokyo Derby, a listed stakes on the secondary circuit. He's from the B level in Japan. He's not from the top level like Tokyo Racecourse and the major level of racing in Japan this year. He's kind of been second tier, but he's a horse who's got early pace about him in his races in Japan. But looking at the fractions of those races, going back and watching some of the videos, much slower, 52 and change and stuff like that to the half. I mean, he's going to have to chase much faster horses and then sustain it over a mile and a quarter. I'm not wild about him in this particular spot. I didn't think they came home particularly fast in that Tokyo Derby last time, despite it going fairly slow early on. 204 and change, obviously, but, tracks are deeper, sandier, beachier over there. So you can't just look at the raw time, but the percentage of the race that it took to finish versus start, he didn't pick it up, and he didn't really kind of show to me that he's going to handle this kind of horse in the U.S. Scott, I watched him jog. They had some jogging video of him at First.tv. He did not have a workout here in the U.S., but the day he was on the track was the 17th, so about 5 days before the race. What would that have been, like Monday? On the track, he was a hot mess, completely broke out, sweating profusely. We've seen this a lot with the Japanese horses when you watch the Derby works or the Breeders' Cup works. They take a little while to acclimate, and some have run exceptionally well here in the U.S., but he didn't give any kind of great visual vibe from the little bit that I saw there. His trainer, though, Tanaka, has only had one horse come here to the U.S. with Rousham Park, ran second by a neck in the Breeders' Cup Turf at 22-1. So the trainer's been here before and had a pretty good success at a price. It's mixed signals for me on Finger. I can't necessarily come up with the right digit.
I got to let him beat me. He's a 3-year-old coming over here, taking on older. You mentioned the class. He says more better horses than he's faced. You mentioned the Japanese. I did get a good feel, more than I ever would have otherwise, being at the Derby for a number of years when the Japanese were sending multiple horses over, and being on the work show and talking to Kate, forget the name, but she's their Japanese.
Kate Hunter,
yeah, Kate Hunter on a couple of radio shows I did, but just got a little bit of a feel. I think you got to be pretty special to come over and win in general, unless you've already proven form here, and you just haven't seen anything yet from this horse. So you got another horse I'm willing to let beat me.
I will say, though, from an excitement factor, it's probably the most exciting prospect if he wins this race on what it can mean towards Breeders' Cup and things like that. Knightsbridge, I don't know, would Knightsbridge even go to the Classic?
No, he's going to be the dirt mile either way.
Right, because Baeza and Sovereignty are already playing for that race for Mott. If things work out well. Speaking of the Breeders' Cup Classic Division, earlier this week, we welcomed a new member to our team at First Bet and Express Bet. Racing analyst and betting analyst for NBC Sports, Matt Bernier, joined our team, and he's going to give us some Breeders' Cup divisional rankings each and every week. And he started off this Tuesday by talking about this specific Classic Division leading into the Pacific Classic.
Time for Bernier's Best here, Tuesday, August the 18th, 2026. In this video, I'll be discussing my top 4 contenders for the Breeders' Cup Classic Division. If you're curious, my opinions on the rest of the Breeders' Cup divisions, head on over to expressbet.com. Here, it's quite simple. Going to be going in reverse chronological order, 4 to 1. We begin with Knightsbridge. He'll be running in the Pacific Classic this weekend out of Del Mar. More about that at the end of this video. We know on his best day what he's capable of. He is remarkably fast, but the unknown, twofold: distance and class. Can he do that, what we saw at Monmouth Park in July against better horses, and can he do it at 10 furlongs? Number 3, Magnitude, kind of fits the same bill. The difference is we know he can do it at 10 furlongs. We know he can do it against the best of the best. If you can just forgive his dull efforts at Saratoga, really there's not much to knock about a horse like Magnitude. Number 2 is the reigning horse of the year in Sovereignty. It was good to see him get back to one of his better performances with that big win in the Whitney. Maybe he is a bit of a horse for course at Saratoga, but that doesn't mean he can't win elsewhere. And obviously this year's Breeders' Cup happens to be at Keeneland, so we'll see what the big boy can do. But to be the man, you've got to beat the man. And on top, number 1, I have last year's Breeders' Cup Classic winner, that being Forever Young. Look, truly a globetrotter. He'll be making his prep, his return to the States here in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. That'll be on opening weekend at Belmont Park. He may be taking on Sovereignty in that spot. But again, the idea that on his best day, simply put, I think he is the best dirt horse in the world, and he should get the jump on a horse like Sovereignty. I have Forever Young on top in the Breeders' Cup Classic division as of the middle of August. But I mentioned the Pacific Classic. Not only is it going to be an important race for Knightsbridge, it might be an important race for you on the gambling front. And from a contest standpoint, for the first time ever, you can play along in the Pacific Classic Betting Challenge over at ExpressBet. Try to take advantage of feeders on both Thursday and Friday to earn your $4,000 seat into the Pacific Classic Betting Challenge. And again, you can play it again at ExpressBet.
All right, thanks to Matt for that report. We'll have those occasionally here on the podcast and share them with you as well. You can pick those up on the ExpressBet YouTube channel and on the website pages at news.first.com and expressbet.com. Get Matt's rankings each week, and he'll talk about the different Breeders' Cup divisions. And then on Friday, he's got one for the money coming up each weekend. He's got one big stakes race each weekend, fair odds analysis picks for, and this week it's the Pacific Classic. That'll be available later this afternoon on Friday as we record our podcast. So check out Matt's picks for the Pacific Classic at expressbet.com and at news.first.com. Okay, Del Mar Mile still on the docket for us to wrap things up. Race number 11 on the card Saturday at Old Del Mar. This is a race where the last 12 winners of this race have all exited stakes races. They've got 8 of the last 10 horses who are horses who have been running from the meet. So horses that have already been running at the meet, already in stakes company, have had a lot of success in this race. It's not necessarily been shippers. It's not necessarily been horses trying to make a big step up in class. I went to horse. I kind of felt like you in this race because I know over the years you've had Cabo Spirit on top on multiple occasions in some races around the West Coast. And I'm giving him a shot to wire this one on the inside. Last time out got beat by Gold Phoenix, the winningest horse in the history of Del Mar Stakes races, when Gold Phoenix got his 6th Del Mar Stakes win. I'm going to give Cabo Spirit a chance to wire him under the Ironman Mike Smith.
You're not the Cabo Spirit whisperer, though, you know. That's
no, I mean, I think it's the first time I've ever picked him. So.
I know. I used to play. He's 7 years old. He's at 43 races. I got taught the lesson once or twice before I jumped in. But the thing is it's generally not at a mile in my life.
Right.
Now, the more important thing is if he's going to be loose or is he not? Last time was the time he should. I mean, that was a tough beat, 8-1. He's going to be probably end up being a decent price in here because I think there looks to be a lot of speed. You got Jaramillo coming in on a horse that has shown speed and has been up closer to shorter races. You've got
Flyover's got some pace, yeah.
Yeah, Flyover does. I mean, I guess if Flyover doesn't, fire out, it could be easier for you. He's the key, but even El Patente. But that's, from that outside post, I don't think Berrios is going to be gunning and wanting to take on Cabo Spirit. I think he'll be very happy to get over to the 2-path and stalk if that happens. But who knows? But to me, I'm going to play for a fall apart a little more. Not a dead closer, but I think maybe the best closer in a field where most of the best horses are going to want to be at least somewhat forward, as that's number 3, Artislas, 15-1 for Jeff Mullins, bred from my favorite college basketball program, University of Kentucky. Another sarcasm. Both wins, 2 of the 3 wins over the course, second off the bench for this one for Jeff Mullins. You get Le Peru, you lose Hernandez. I mean, I think Juan's a better rider, but Julian, in this kind of race, I probably might be cursing him out at the end, but I want him to sit back, so his lack of aggressiveness doesn't bother me. And I think this one could just get the right setup and come with a big late run. So I'll take a big swing with number 3, Artislas, in the finale.
Coming out of the Wicker Stakes back on opening day at Del Mar. Again, like we said, the Del Mar Stakes horses have really been good in this race at the end of the meet. So he's kind of coming out of the right kind of spots. Send your cards and letters to Scott Shapiro, proud alum of the University of Wisconsin, Kentucky fans, because Scott, in about a month or so, I'm going to do 16 Nights of Keeneland podcast where 50% of the crowd is Lexington people. And I want them all to know that I do not condone your sarcasm.
I mean, they used to really. I mean, I used to be vocal when was about Wisconsin and my dislike for Kentucky back a decade ago on Twitter before I had to be more professional. And I definitely have people that judged me back then because of it. But it's been a while. I made amends with being in their state, maybe giving them a winner or two along the way. I don't hold the same disdain. It's really a John Calipari thing more than a UK thing. Come at me, Arkansas.
Yeah, we love you, Big Blue Nation. That's how we'll leave it with that. Hey, that's going to wrap up the podcast for this Pacific Classic weekend. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to check out all the content. Scott's got handicapping a full card Saturday at Saratoga already up on the website at ExpressBet and at news.first.com. So be sure to check out that content all weekend. Frank Carulli's got opening night at Remington Park covered for you tonight. Be sure to check that out. He's got a late pick 4 plays. The season thoroughbreds open tonight at Remington. So a lot of great action around the country. Again, congrats Juan Hernandez winning with Bossio this morning on Nunthorpe over in England. And we look forward to seeing him back on Saturday. If you didn't, at Saturday at Del Mar for the Pacific Classic, if you caught the podcast here towards the end and didn't catch the beginning, Irad Ortiz looks like he's going to be out several more days here as he will not be a go for tomorrow to ride in the Alabama Stakes, still nursing a bad ankle. So Jose Ortiz, his brother, has picked up the mount. I don't think we mentioned that, but Jose Ortiz is going to ride Counting Stars. It's the year of Jose, and he's going to pick up a 1-5 shot in a grade 1. That wraps things up. On behalf of everybody with First Bet and Express Bet, my partner, Scott Shapiro, have a great weekend, everybody. Talk to you next week.